Can I turn this pole into a spaceship? Can I turn this stump into a robot? Can I turn this trash bin into a spaceship? Can I turn this bridge into a robot? Can I turn this dog into a robot? So at this moment I would welcome you and say a couple of words, but I'm pretty bummed because I accidentally deleted a big part of the footage that I did, and arguably the more interesting, the drawing part of the footage. So excuse me if I'm a bit demotivated, but I'm gonna try my best to still finish somehow, or at least give you something interesting with this video. The topic was basically drawing something from a photo, and we have within our Discord server, which I recommend, we have a small channel that we call Recommendations of the Week, and I encourage people to just take photos of everyday stuff, and I'll try to make a robot or a spaceship out of it. And this one was a stress ball with a stress ring, which I didn't notice, but this stress ball I wanted to turn into something interesting. And probably many of you know, like, I'm pretty much inspired by Space Goose. Let me just open some of his. So his transformations of everyday objects are absolutely fantastic and very inspirational. So I usually open some of his stuff just to get some inspiration. And then another thing that I do, I just took the egg shape and I was looking at Brian Sum's stuff, because his robots are a bit more organic shaped, and I try to follow that, or at least I try to get inspired by that as well. And I had this all nicely recorded. I wanted to talk over it, but I guess we're just gonna do it like this. So I started drawing from here and then went that way and then went that way. As you can see, I even stopped with the first one. I was like, okay, this is not working, but it was a good warm up. Then the second one, I wanted to stay away from the typical leg, arm, and then egg in the middle. So I wanted to do something slightly more interesting. So I did these bigger legs, and this with the legs, you can maybe see the inspiration a little bit from Brian, some kind of Max. Then I wanted to do the leg, arm, but I wanted to make it interesting with like silly longer arms, which sort of works. It could work. Then I thought, let me just throw in a generic spider or Spidey mech, because yeah, why not? And then without actually noticing, I thought, let me bring something new and bring the legs a little bit higher, like what was it, Sebulba from the Star Wars things, and then arms lower and legs higher. And then I did another one where it's sort of four-legged, but I started noticing that these all look very similar. So I wanted to step away from it. So I went back to the leg, arm situation, and still tried to do the arms a little bit longer and make it a little bit fightery as well. But I thought, okay, I'm a little bit lost. So I went to the girlfriend and asked her to choose one. And she liked this one because she said it looks a little bit like a chicken. I thought, okay, that's funny. Let's just go with that one then. And then this would be the part where you see me drawing and then doing the lines, but that is missing. So we are sort of going to jump into the rendering part. To make my life a little bit easier, I quickly did a Viscom AI render, which it looked good, but I didn't like it. So I ended up with just cleaning it up a little bit. But in the end, I ended up just doing my own sort of rendering. So I just filled everything with gray, gave it a little bit of a transition gray color. And then I just started following the light sources with basically light direction that the egg, well, I call it egg. It's not really an egg. As I said, it's a stress ball. But I was following the light source from that egg as inspiration. And you kind of know this process. So let's listen to a little bit of music while I do this. At one point I also wanted to give a little bit of depth to the egg, so I just suggested sort of a back part of the shell that's surrounding it, where the legs are attached to, and I also made sure to give a little bit of see-throughness on the side, so I brought in that little bit of blue that is sort of distorting things. Next, I sort of wanted to emphasize that eye on top of the egg, which now I don't really like that much looking back, but hey, those were my design decisions back then, and I guess I just have to stick with that. Next step was stepping away from the gray and giving it some color. In this case, I just filled the layer with orangey color, and I wanted to see what happens if I change the color, the layer options, and also opacity. And I think I ended up with an overlay layer with this sort of orangey color, and I put a mask on it and I started erasing it. Then I did another layer where I brought some blue in. I thought, let me mix the typical orange blue colors. But funnily enough, when I started playing with the layer options, I ended up with a saturation, and this gave me this like golden, bronzy orange color. And I really liked it going together with the rest of the bot. And since the whole egg was already blue, I just stuck with it. And then I did a color dodge layer where I took some of the pink reflection that was in the egg, and I just brought it a little bit into the whole mech. To make this pop a little bit more, I was playing with the background the whole time, so I made it a little bit darker just to see what it would look like. And usually towards the end, I don't want to say final touch, but I just brought in some metal texture, and I was trying to fit it to the whole mech, but I just didn't like how it was working, so I decided, let me just add it to different parts of the mech. So I added it a little bit to one leg, then erased the parts that I didn't need it. Then I did sort of the same thing with the other leg, made it a little bit smaller as well, so the texture doesn't seem too big. Again, erased the parts that I don't need, and then just added it to the body, at least the parts that are supposed to be metal. I did a little bit of warping, so the shape of the egg pops up a little bit, so it goes nicely roundly around it, and there we were. That was sort of the metal texture. And before I started meddling with it a little bit more, I wanted to bring in a little bit more of that jelliness into that. Well, I thought it was sort of a jelly egg back then, so I just took a picture where I think I googled just blue jelly, and this is what I got. So I just warped it around it, erased parts of it so it blends nicer together with the background image. And in the end, I just went back, and you will see that I erased parts of that, but I also erased parts of the metal texture just to get that final look. And with that, I sort of was done with this little stress ball egg thing, which is funny because I got super angry when doing the editing because I deleted the footage. So I guess this stress ball would have come in handy for me as well. Anyways, I hope you still enjoyed this video and you got something out of it. If you did, leave me a like or a subscribe if you're not subscribed to this channel yet and you would like to see more. If you really like my stuff and want to support me, take a look at my Patreon link in the description. I will also post the PSD of this drawing to my Patreon. So if you want to see all the layers and what and how the things work, you can download that from there. But as always, the most important thing is that you folks have a great time, and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.